Okay, so now we're going to take a look at Amy's portrait project. You used your puppy as your subject. That's cute. Okay, let's take a look. Aw, that's very cute. Yeah, I think this was pretty good. I would say a couple of compositional things. The I think that you could probably get the same effect if you got in closer to the dog and had the dog, fill more of the frame. I think that the thing you really want to have showing up behind the dog is the Christmas tree. It's way more interesting than this than the floor. And I think if you got just a little bit lower and a little bit closer, you would get that same kind of result. This is a little problematic right here, where this kind of blob of red is kind of blending in with the dog. I think that there's a little bit too much going on in the background when you have like a really good potential background here. If with the tree, might be a little bit, the focus might be a little soft. We always want the eyes to be in really sharp focus, and I would say that since you're indoors with limited light, you don't want to go any slower than a 60th of a second. So otherwise you're going to get motion blur. I would probably say take the ISO up, maybe 400, maybe 800, maybe even more, so that you could, get the 60th of a second or faster on your shutter speed. Okay, now this one's better. I think that this one is, it's a really cute pose. I like the props that you've put around it. I think that the composition is much more interesting because, you've got her in her little bed and the way her paws are hanging over the side. There's less distraction going on in the background. We still, very clearly get the sense of a Christmas type space. But this one, the pose is much more engaging. Okay, and yeah, this one's pretty good. Composition's probably not quite as good as this one. Again, I think we're kind of running into some of the same background issues. And a lot of this can be resolved by getting down even lower. And so, what we really want to focus on is the face. And if you can get lower and closer and, like, say, have the top of her head coming up to right about where my cursor is, and bottom of the paws, pretty good the way they are. If you really wanted to have these two little ornaments in there, this might be one that you could conceivably turn your camera horizontally. But whoops, sorry about that. But I'm thinking that in these it's either your placement or your eye level, or maybe just the choice of putting the dog bed right there. It's not giving you the best possible background you could get. It's like if there was a way that you could get less wall, less floor. Well, less wall. The floor I think you need, and more tree. And another thing I might just suggest is, it might not have been a bad idea to take that red cloth that you have under the tree, and maybe take it and bring it up underneath the dog's bed instead. I think that would make the foreground a lot more interesting. And it's a little dull right in here. I think your white balance is looking a little warm. And then again, watch those slow shutter speeds. You don't need to have, when you're shooting inside and it's probably nighttime and you're just using artificial light. ISO of 100 is not going to be enough. That's really only for shooting outdoors in good lighting conditions or with a tripod. Okay. Now this is probably the best composition so far. And I think, a lot of the things that I had issue with on the others, that it's not happening here. You've got a very nice foreground, really paying attention to everything that's surrounding the dog. You've got a kind of an asymmetrical background. And some of the other ones, the tree seemed like it was just kind of like growing up right out of the middle of her head. And having it offset like that is really much, much better. So I think that this is, composition-wise, your most successful one so far. And again, I think the eyes are a little flat. Um, I think you could possibly even get just a little closer still. But just, in the future, it's very important that the eyes be in focus, and that's not going to happen, with that slow of a shutter speed. Okay, that one's pretty cute too. Yeah, I'd say these two are your best ones. I really like the way that it almost seems like she's kind of floating on a cloud right here. It might be better if she was facing the other way and the tree was here and maybe her head over here, just because again we've kind of got the tree growing up out of the back of her head just a little bit. But it's still stronger than the ones in front of the other Christmas tree. I think you've got a simpler background. You've got a more contrived background. It's like everything seems to be placed, and I think you've put some kind of a backdrop here. I'm not sure, but that's really helping. With portraits, backdrops are really nice things to have. So, but yeah, you do definitely need to be mindful of that shutter speed, and what ISO you're using in what conditions. Okay. Yeah, that one's good too. As far as composition is concerned, I'd say, some of the same things about the eyes as on the previous one. But I like the asymmetry of this one. I like that you turned your camera. Um, I like that you turned your camera vertically for this. It looks really nice. Okay, very good. Nice work.